Welcome back to Living Local on this Wellness Wednesday. According to the CDC, about 1 in 6 children have one or more developmental or behavioral disabilities. Research shows that early intervention treatment services can greatly improve a child's development, and there are resources available in Rock Island County that will offer parents the opportunity to be proactive about their child's health and get necessary screenings. And joining me in studio right now is Lisa Vianney, birth to 3 parent liaison there on the end, Jenny Wynn, speech and language pathologist in the middle, and Natalie Doyle, early childhood program coordinator. Got all that out.
That's a lot.
Thank you guys for being here today. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. Well, can you first off start by telling me what is a screening, these screenings that you guys do, and what is the purpose?
So the screenings are really about getting a snapshot of a child's development, and we look at 5 different areas, one of those being communication. So when we look at young children, are they listening, are they understanding? With our infants, we look at are they babbling and vocalizing. And then we also look at fine motor, so how are they using their fingers and their hands. We look at gross motor, so legs, arms, how they're moving their body. And then we also do personal social, so how are they interacting with other children or with their toys. And then the last area that we look at is problem solving. So again, kind of how are they interacting with their environment and toys and things of that nature. We also look at hearing and vision for the children as well.
Gotcha, so you get the full scope of a child's developmental stages. Who are the children that should be screened?
So we recommend that any child, we serve primarily 0 to 3. So we're often at the health department, we have families that come in with infants, and we tell them, we can screen your 2-month-old. And so we really encourage the earlier the better. That way, if there is a concern, we can then provide services that are needed. So we really try to get the word out to have every child screened.
Yeah, absolutely. Earlier the better. Is there a cost for them to be screened?
So there's absolutely no cost affiliated with the screening.
Nice.
So, and you don't need a doctor's referral. We have a lot of parents that just call and are concerned, and so we say just come to one of our screenings.
Perfect. And if people are interested, when can they take advantage of that and where at?
So we have them at a variety of locations. I mentioned the health department, the Rock Island County Health Department. We also have just recently formed a new partnership with Community Healthcare in Moline, and those are offered monthly, and they can call our office to set those appointments up.
Perfect. Make sure everyone gets access. Get several spots there. So what happens if there is a concern if something comes up there about the child's development?
So then I kind of turn to my friends over here, Jenny and Lisa. I'll let Jenny share some of the pieces of that.
Sure. So I'm a speech language pathologist, and so anyone that comes through the screening, a child under the age of 3 who has potentially a concern with communication skills, we get to do the evaluation then after they're screened, and a concern is identified by the screening team.
Gotcha. And then where do you kind of go from that? How do you help them develop in those skills?
Okay, so when a concern is identified, and most often it's because a child under the age of 3 isn't talking yet, or maybe not talking as well or as much as other kids his or her age, or older siblings or older cousins that the parents are comparing to. And so we look at 2 areas. That's the expressive language piece, so what they're putting out for us. How are they communicating? It's either, if it's not through words, are they using gestures? Are they using eye contact or other sounds, like Natalie mentioned, the babbling, the sound making? But the other area is receptive or understanding of language. So do they follow basic directions, like go get your cup, or where's your shoes? Those kinds of basic directions. Can they look at a book with you and point to objects that you name? So when we evaluate all of that, if we decide that it looks like there is a concern in that area of communication, one of those 2 areas, then we can provide intervention, and that looks different for all kids and all families and what they need, but it always looks like play. And it's always fun. Yeah. And it always involves being on the floor with us and with you, with parents, with caregivers, hopefully in your home. But if that's not possible, then we also provide services in a daycare setting with daycare providers, and through Boss Ed, so Blackhawk Area Special Education District is the agency that I work for, and our services are free. Like Natalie said, the screening is free. The speech and language intervention is free. Typically happens once a month. Like I said, it's really fun, and hopefully our main goal is to teach parents and caregivers how to help their child their child's communication skills.
Yeah, absolutely. Very, very important. Keeping the parents involved with the kids as well. What all would be involved in a typical session if somebody is working through, let's say, the early stages of development?
Okay, so we look at what the child is doing to communicate. And like I mentioned, gestures, pointing to things. We'll be on the floor playing, teaching kids how to take turns. We want to get involved in their play so that we can teach them the vocabulary that goes with what we're playing with, the books that we're looking at, their daily routines. So we don't want to do anything extra or different from what you're already doing with your child. So we're going to work through, when you're getting ready in the morning, getting dressed, eating breakfast, brushing teeth, getting in the car, how are we going to work in language strategies? So if they're not talking yet, how are we going to help them to communicate with us? And then eventually getting them to repeat and imitate words or sounds if that's the level that they're at. And then once they are talking, so a lot of 2-year-olds maybe have some words, but we need to build that vocabulary, and we need to help parents learn how to expand on that. So if the child is saying dog, 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 how do we add, dog run, dog sleep, eat, dog, all of those expansion kind of techniques.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of fun. It's really work that parents can do, and it might seem overwhelming, but parents and caregivers are a child's first and most important teachers, so we want to give you a lot of confidence in you doing that heavy lifting work to help your kids.
Yeah, you guys are there to make it a little bit easier.
That's right.
Absolutely. So what are some of the other developmental concerns, and what intervention services are available?
I guess as far as I work for Child and Family Connections, which is the Birth to 3 program in the state of Illinois, and we have 9 counties that we cover, but our majority of the kids that we see in the 9 counties are in Rock Island County, and it's a voluntary program. Any of these, the screenings, the speech therapy. So if a referral comes in, like from the screening, the child comes and the parent has a concern as well, then they usually will call our office, and we offer physical therapy, occupational therapy, speech therapy as well, developmental therapy, nutrition. There's a multitude of services. And then the referral comes in, we contact the parent and make an appointment to go in and do an intake meeting with them, and that's about an hour long because parents have to sign waivers and permission slips and things, and we explain the program more in depth. And then if the parents are okay with everything, then it's an evaluation. It's not a screen anymore, so this evaluation is much more in depth. And if the child has a 30% delay or greater in any of the areas that Natalie had mentioned in the beginning, then we get back to the parents and we say, if you're interested, we can provide these services. Again, usually they're in the home, and our services are usually a little more in depth. We usually have the therapist go in like once a week, and it's usually for like an hour at a time. Some children can tolerate an hour, some children can't, so it just kind of depends on the environment and what the parents are willing. Sometimes their schedules don't allow for an hour. That's just too much for their schedules as well. And then if the child qualifies, every 6 months we reevaluate to see if they still need those services. If the child's developed and everything's going great, then we say, this is awesome, thank you for letting us be here, and we close that. If the child still needs services, we continue those. Sometimes we increase, sometimes we decrease those services. And then as we get closer to that 3rd birthday, if the child still looks like they would need services and benefit from those services, then we contact the school district with the parent or guardian's permission, and then we transition them into the school district to continue those services.
Gotcha, helping parents and helping kids every step of the way. Well, thank you guys so much for what you're doing. We'll definitely make sure all this information's on our website as well, but if you guys are interested in more information, you can visit their website at riroe.com, and we're also going to post all the information on ourquadcities.com. We're back with more Living Local right after this.